First of all, I saw that today was your 12-year wedding anniversary. So congratulations to
Yes,
you and
thank you.
Brandon. That's amazing. Um, you guys have done a lot to impact the community. And I'd love for you to introduce yourself. Tell me a
Yeah,
little bit about you, who you are, what you do, where you're from.
awesome. Yes, my name is Michelle Shuck, and my husband Brandon and I have been married for 12 years now. I was born and raised in Charlotte, North Carolina, so I'm a unicorn, as this is a transplant town down here. Brandon is a transplant. He is from Michigan. And we have two children, a 7-year-old girl and a 4-year-old boy, or 4.5, as he would tell you now. He's very proud of that half. And we own CrossFit Pineville in Pineville, North Carolina, right outside of Charlotte. In the spring, we will have been open for 10 years. So going on a decade,
Wow.
which feels like a really big accomplishment. Brandon works full time in insurance, actually doing insurance for CrossFit gyms and other gyms. So he really found his niche finally,
Mm-hmm.
which is fun. And yeah, I mean, we just really try and plug into our community where we are. I try and volunteer at Kinsley School with my teaching background. It's super fun for me to be able to go in there and just try and support the school and the teachers. But yeah, that's just kind of the gist of who we are.
In a nutshell.
Yeah.
All right. I wanted to pull something. You said something really beautiful in your intake form, and I just wanted to bring it up because I feel like there's such a pressure to replicate what we see on social media as far as making this big impact. And not only is that like not attainable for all of us, but it just
Yes.
causes kind of maybe an extra anxiety. So one of the things that you said was to bloom where you are planted. And I really love the simplicity of that, and it takes a lot of the pressure off, right, just to kind of
Yes.
have that mindset. So can you go into that a little bit about like maybe what you mean by that, or maybe some examples of how you can do that, how that's possible?
Yeah. I think today, in this day and age, if you will, with social media as rampant and as big as it is, and with influencers and all that stuff, there is the pressure, whether we're putting it on ourselves or it's just perceived, but it's there, that we need to have some grand influence. And while some will be called to have a very like large influence in the world, if you will, most people are not going to be called to that. And so I think it's good to kind of dig in and like dig in roots, and if you will, and kind of going with the whole blooming theme, of where you are, and to maybe take a step back and stop the comparison game, comparing to another mom on social media or influencers that you see, and to think about what you're really good at and how you can use that, where you are. So that may be just in your friend group, or just in the own four walls of your house, maybe a little grander, into your community, like we've said. But it doesn't have to be something huge where you're speaking on stage, or changing lives. And you may end up changing lives without knowing, but I think you are able really to dig in where you are, find, whether it's friends or a church or a gym or a school, whatever the community may be, where you can really give back and use your talents to kind of bless the people that are around you. And again, yeah, just taking that pressure off, thinking it has to be grand or big, if that even makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I know you mentioned, so your background is in special ed teaching, and
Yes.
you're involved a little bit in Kinsley School. Can you tell me like about that? Because that is definitely probably like a thankless job to kind of volunteer at the school, but maybe like explain to us a little bit about that. My kids aren't quite in school yet, so I haven't gotten to that
Yes.
level where there's like parent involvement. Like my kids go to
Yes.
daycare and they don't really ask my
Mm-hmm.
opinion about anything yet, but like speak on that.
Yeah. So I have one of my best friends that I grew up with. Literally, we've known each other since we were 18 months old. Her her grandfather actually married my parents, and so we go way back. Our families go way back. So we both, went to college to become teachers and graduated and started teaching. She only taught for probably about 2 years, I think, because she married her high school sweetheart and they had babies pretty quickly. So she stopped teaching to stay home. But now she has 4 kids and they're a little bit older than mine. And so she's now teaching at the private school that they go to. And so it is a private school, so a little bit different, than the public realm. But she said, this was like such a light bulb and aha moment for me. She was like, Michelle, there is no teacher turnover at this school. Like, it's hard to get a job as a teacher here. And she was like, you know why? The biggest difference that I found is this level of support. So, obviously private school, so funding is different and things like that. But each classroom teacher, at least through 5th grade that I know of, has a full-time classroom assistant. And so that assistant does their grading. That assistant takes those kids to recess and to their special area classes every day, and teaches a Bible lesson every day because it's a private Christian school. So within that day right there, that's about 2 hours of support that the teacher has, that she can, be working on lesson plans or, doing whatever's needed for the next day, to where she's not having to stay after school until 5 or 6 o'clock to do all the other stuff that she didn't get done during the day, because she was with her kids, the children, all day throughout the school day. She has those blocks within her day, and she's supported to where she can get all that stuff done and find some semblance of balance. And I think that is a really hard thing in the public school system for teachers to find some semblance of balance. And so, like I said, that was just kind of an aha moment for me. And I was like, wow, if I can support my kids' teachers then to where I can run some copies, so at Kinsley's school, they have what they call a busy bee station, where teachers can leave stuff like copies or laminating, stuff they need cut out, stuff that it takes time, but it's not hard. It's just time consuming. So if I can run copies or cut things out for them, that they don't have to spend hours doing that after school or at home at night, like they can spend time with their family. I feel like that will make them better teachers and better able to serve my kids and their students, all the students, not just mine. But so yeah, just that level of support, if they could get that, that'll ripple out into their life to give them better balance and help them, find time to spend with their family, or just so they're not selling their soul to teaching.
Right.
I feel like sometimes some teachers are doing that.
I would
And
agree. And I'm not in the teaching realm either, but
yeah,
I feel
and that could cause burnout, or right, like
Oh
it's
yeah.
already hard to recruit teachers as is, or to get them to stay. I mean, I'm one that left after 5 years.
Right.
So and we're gonna need good teachers still. Like,
Yeah.
school is still a thing. We need teachers. So yeah, I just felt like if I can go in an hour or two a week and just make some copies or cut something for them, make their
Wow.
lives a little easier.
I
So
love that.
yeah.
That that kind of actually rolls right into like where I want to go next, because speaking of kind of like that volunteer heart, or that giving back, I wanted to kind of chat with you a little bit about being a CrossFit owner. You do have like a presence in the community and an impact in your community. And one of the things that, me not even being like at a CrossFit facility right now, but like I notice like the charity events that CrossFit usually puts
Yes.
on for different causes.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to speak with you about like how important the volunteering, the charity, the giving back is to kind of like mirror to your children, so that they can kind of
Mm-hmm.
see that spirit that you have, obviously. Go ahead and
Yeah.
speak on that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. That is one thing I really love about CrossFit, how they do kind of like tack on to different charities or different organizations, and really try to support them. That being said, there are a lot. And so sometimes it's hard to like, I can't do all of them. Like which ones do we pick and choose? And so we kind of, at our gym have, kind of grabbed onto a few that have just been around a while, and we've been doing them now for several years. But so, even when like there's a member of a gym that she just got a breast cancer diagnosis, and that gym has really rallied around her, and they've done different charity events, to raise money for her treatments and things like that. So that is just a really special piece of CrossFit and just, gym communities in general, that I love. But we do enjoy being able to take our kids to those events, and we, talk to them about what's going on and why we're doing this. So I think it's good to involve them kind of as early as you can about that. And then even like the days that I'm volunteering at Kinsley's school, I try and let her know like, hey, I'm going to be in your workroom today. So if you walk by, like peek in and say hi, I tell her what I'm doing, not to like pat myself on the back, but again, so that just she knows like, oh, mom's taking time out of her day to come do this to help my teacher. And so that they can see that and they'll remember it, as they are growing and getting bigger, and hopefully then want to emulate that. So I do want my kids to see that we give our time back, either by going to these events or by volunteering at school. But also I think, with Christmas being right around the corner, it's easy to find ways then to, talk about how not every kid has as much as we do. And we love like Operation Christmas Child and being able to fill a box each year. And now that like my kids are a little bit older, we can pick a kid that's their age so that they can, help find stuff that like, wow, this is going to get, and you can follow the box now with Operation Christmas Child, which is really cool. So you can see like where that box ends up. So we've done that every year at Christmas and look forward to doing that again. And then, really just, I think too, for me, and again, this kind of goes back to social media and like, influencers pick different charities that they kind of tack onto. And it is hard to like, oh, I want to give to that one, or, oh, I want to help this one. But you also sometimes have to take a step back and remember like, okay, I've done, I've kind of attached myself to these few, and those are going to be the ones that like, I kind of give of my time and my money, and you don't have to do them all. Just, pick the ones that are kind of near and dear to your heart, if that makes sense, and kind of go all in there, instead of, feeling like, oh, I can't do enough, pick the ones and stick to those, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
But I do like to, even when some people are like, just $5, can you do it? Cause right. I mean, little bits like that do add up. And so it's fun to get your kids to, take money out of their own piggy bank and realize like, oh, okay, I'm giving this to help, XYZ, but if you can make it a little more tangible for them.
Yeah. I think my kids are at an age, so I've got 2 and 4. So when we do things, I can try to break it down as best as possible, but I know, it might still be a little bit over their head as far as the concept of giving, but they do understand like people don't have what we have sometimes.
Right.
And, I might explain, hey, what would happen if you woke up on Christmas and mom, dad had to say, sorry, we didn't have enough, there's nothing for you. And my 4-year-old will process, well, I'd be sad, and I'm like, yeah. So what we can do is, give something that we have, because we have so much,
absolutely.
And so I do think it's important to start early on, even if the concept is a little bit like abstract for their brains, especially my 2-year-old. Of course, she doesn't want to share anything, but but that starting young does build in them that I don't know, I feel like that like nature to want to do that, so I agree. Like that's super important. I love that.
Just keeping it on their level, and they really do start to even mine are just a little bit older than yours, and it's fun to see them start to get it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So kind of want to keep on the same grain of like educating our kids, obviously
Yeah.
health and wellness is a huge
Hmm.
thing for you. And I know that you probably diligently work to build those healthy habits into your home. I wanted to know if you could like talk on like, you had kind of mentioned like changing the course of your family, like by bringing in that
Hmm.
health. Like, can you speak on that a little bit about like maybe the things that you do to teach your kids or to raise them in an environment of prioritizing their health and themselves?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I think as a CrossFit gym owner and someone that like enjoys working out, but it wasn't always there. Like I wasn't an athlete growing up or anything. I really didn't work out until probably college,
Mm,
somewhat consistently. And then, yeah, unlearning a lot of like different diet culture rules myself. I did Weight Watchers in high school and counted calories, all that stuff. And I do think it was probably when I started CrossFitting that I stopped caring as much about what my body looked like and cared
mm,
more about what it could accomplish.
mm,
And so it was really fun to be able to back squat a certain weight or clean a certain weight. Or finish a workout faster than I had done it the previous year. So when those things started getting more fun, I was less worried, about what my body looked like. Of course, we still have some body hangups, and I that may never, really go away. But you do hopefully find a place of freedom, and I hope to instill that in my kids. I try. I mean, I don't think that I negatively speak about my body in front of my kids. And we talk about, working out is, to keep us strong and
mm,
healthy. And it's not to make us, we don't talk about, well, we do this so we can look a certain way. And then also kind of the same goes for food. So I'll be the first to tell you, my children are very picky. Try as we might. They were great little, young babies that ate everything. And then as soon as they hit toddlerhood, they had all kinds of opinions, and most of that went out the window. But they're coming around slowly and trying new foods. But yeah, they're definitely part of like the picky kids club. And I was very
mm.
picky, and I look at myself now and I'm like, I turned out okay.
Right, right.
I eat a wide variety of things now, so there's hope for them still. But we do try and talk a lot about like how food gives us energy, and it's
Mm,
to, it's so we can play and keep up with our friends, and so we can feel good. We try and, not harp too much on like, well, this is good for us or that is bad for you. We just talk more about things we should eat more of, and then things that are on occasion or like special
mhm.
treats, essentially.
Right.
but we also try and not, we don't tie, did you finish all your food? Well, that's how you get a treat. So sometimes we'll just have a treat in the afternoon, and that's a special fun thing to do. And it's not tied to like, did you eat enough dinner?
Mhm.
Um, Especially because, yeah, that's a struggle of getting, you didn't try the broccoli on your plate, so you can't have dessert. Or I don't want to,
Right.
start that cycle per se, where, because I think for me, again, no one ever said this to me, but somehow I, thought if I was eating good, then I was being good. And then if I was
Mm,
eating bad, I'm being bad,
mm,
which you're not being bad by eating a certain food. Right. And so I definitely don't want to impart that on my children.
yeah.
um, so, and, it's modeling balance, I think, as well, so that they can see that as an adult, right? I can eat ice cream on the weekend. If we go out for ice cream, I can get, the cone with a scoop and enjoy it and savor every bite. But then I can also eat, a plate full of vegetables and, you know, a healthy dinner or whatever it may be. Um, and yeah, and just modeling that balance for them.
I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love what you said about kind of like attaching guilty feelings to eating
Mm-hmm.
bad foods. And I do feel
Yes.
like so many of us suffer from that because
Mm-hmm.
that's really that self-sabotage, right? You're eating
Yeah.
good and you eat one bad thing, and you're like, you feel awful about yourself. But it's like
Yep.
the
And
food
it's like the
shouldn't give
shame
you,
spiral.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's that's again, the diet culture has kind of
Yeah.
like warped our minds. So
Right. I mean, I talk with clients about that on the regular about,
mhm,
if you get one flat tire, you don't slash the other four, right? Like
mhm,
eat the ice cream and move on, make your next meal back to normal,
mhm.
and we don't have to, I don't know, like you start eating healthy and people are like, oh, you're on a diet. Well, why can't this just be the way I eat?
Right. This is just what I
um,
eat.
right.
Wow.
So,
You kind of touched on it a little bit in that last conversation, but just I wanted to just kind of bring this up because you do nutrition, right?
mhm.
You're a nutrition coach. Is that what you
Yes, I have my precision nutrition certification.
Okay,
So,
awesome.
yeah.
So in thinking about that, I feel like most moms can relate to this, whether they have a girl or a boy, but
Yes.
just trying to navigate when talking to our kids, and again, you kind
Mhm.
of did touch on this, but just if you have anything else to say on it from a teacher background or mom, how
Mhm.
we can detach our self-worth and value from our physical appearance. So that's a tough question,
Yeah,
one
that's
that
a
I'm working on myself. Like I
right.
think you mentioned like you don't talk negatively about your
Mhm.
body in front of your kids. Obviously we have those feelings and
Mhm.
we've said it to ourselves our entire lives, but the importance of
Mhm.
like not saying it in front of them because they hear us and then think about
Mhm.
themselves.
Right.
um but so much of, again, not, I mean, we're kind of bashing social media a little bit, but like so much of that, it's been in magazines, it's been in commercials,
Mhm.
it's been in everything. Any type of advertising is, you got to look a certain way.
Appearance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The girl has to look this
Um,
way, the guy has to look this way. And so I
yeah.
guess any advice on maybe like talking to your kids about that?
I'm still learning definitely as I go, but Kinsley does play softball. And so she's played for a few seasons now. And this was her first year on an 8U team. And it gets a little more serious
I
when
bet
you're
so.
on the 8U. But so, we've tried, and her coach did a great job too. They don't harp so much on like, we won the game or we lost the game. His first question when he huddles the team after the game is always, did you have fun?
Mm,
And so, yes, I own a CrossFit gym, but I always tell people, like if I want you to like working out. So if you love spin class, then go to spin class. If you love yoga, do yoga. Like find what you love and enjoy. And that doesn't mean you can't try something new or push yourself out of your comfort zone, but you're more likely to keep doing something that you enjoy, right?
mm,
So I think that should always be a big priority. And, even just thinking about sports for little kids, like I don't want to force her to do something, a game. Now, of course, if you signed up for a season and you realize you don't like it, we might have to finish the season because we paid for it. But, I'm not going to keep re-enrolling her in softball if she decided like, hey, I'm not sure I love this anymore.
yeah.
But yeah, so her coach I think did a great job of making sure, hey, are we having fun, and then not being too big on like winning or losing. I'm sure that will come in the years to come, but also we try and remind her that we just love watching her play. Like it doesn't have to be because she got a great hit. Like it's
Mm.
just fun to see her go out there and try. This year in the 8U, the girls get to pitch
Oh,
first.
wow.
So it's actual kid pitch, which I think is a little bit different with baseball. Our son is 4. And so as he just started T-ball, but as they progress through baseball, I think they go to machine pitch.
Mm,
And kid pitch doesn't start till they're a little bit older. So, with the girls pitching, Kinsley would she would try and hit off the girls, where a lot of the other girls would wait till the coach came out.
So the coach came.
And yeah. And so we would say, you know, oh, I'm so proud of you for like trying to hit off of the girl, even if she didn't get a hit. So I think like praising things like that, or just letting her know that we enjoy watching her play. It's not about whether she won or lost. I think those are kind of big things. And I know I'm speaking mostly about her, but she's just my older one.
Right.
You know, and even when she like puts an outfit together or something like that, I try and like comment on how creative or like fashionable she is, instead of being like, you look great, instead of just about looks, or, you know, just talking about how did you come up with that outfit, or like how, you know, that's so creative, the style that you chose. I love that, instead of, oh, you look cute, you know?
Right.
So just even verbiage like that, I think, and trying to be cognizant of that, because it is really easy to just be like, oh, look at you, so cute. Because she's my daughter. Of course, I think she looks cute.
Right.
But making sure I'm cognizant of what I'm telling her, instead of just always saying, you look cute, and like telling her what I like your style, I like your creativity, instead of, you know, how she looks, if that makes sense.
No, that is good to bring to our awareness, because I really feel like that is a challenge, and that's a different form of thinking, as far as like,
Right.
Arlo's in a phase, 4 years old, picking out clothes that none of them ever match. And I'm kind of along your lines of saying that looks great, but like I'm trying to like figure out how to not say it like that. Like that's a good one for me. That's creative.
So creative.
I love how you thought of that.
Yes.
Because I do try to think about praising qualities like of her brain, like
Yes.
that was really kind, that was really smart, that was really, and different things, and not just like, oh, you're really good at that or whatever. So
yes.
What does it mean to you to be living in your legacy?
Oh, that's a good question. I think to be living in a way where I feel I'm being authentic to myself and my family, and that may always be ever evolving, right? Depending on the life stage that we're in. But even, making sure that the stuff I'm giving my time to is serving myself and my family. Because that's the one thing you don't get back, I guess, is your time. So I want to be able to use it well, and to serve others and my family, I guess.
I like that. Last thing, if someone listening wanted to maybe reach out to you, maybe they haven't prioritized their health ever before and they're curious, they have no idea where to start as far as nutrition, is there a way they can follow you, contact you, reach out to maybe work with you in that?
Yes. They can reach out through Instagram. So either through CrossFit Pineville or my personal handle, which is Mrs. Shuck, MRSSHUCK. But yeah, I'm happy to chat with anybody and see if working one-on-one would be a good fit. And really my biggest recommendations for people are to prioritize hydration and protein and steps and sleep. And so if you can focus on like those 4 things and really try not to overcomplicate it. So, just drink more water than what you were drinking, start there, and then try and add some protein to your day. It's less about what you need to cut out of your diet. If you can just add in more healthy, nutrient dense things. But yeah, really focusing on protein. And then just being more active throughout your day. We just end up being sedentary, a lot of people, either because of their jobs or our lives. So adding in, short walks throughout the day, and then prioritizing your sleep. So getting 7 to 8 hours.
I love that. I love that.
The little stuff is really the big stuff.
The little things really make a difference.
They do.
Michelle, I wanted to just thank you for showing up today and being authentically you. The most costly thing that you can do is be real. So